Hello, everyone. So, in the previous class, I explained the entire analysis on our plant growth classification. We did EDA, we did visualizations, that means it can be a part of an EDA, and then at the last, I told we perform feature engineering also. Okay. So, as per my knowledge, I created some features like THI, water adequacy, GDD, that is the base temperature of the plant growth. I kept 10 and then I created a new feature. Then, fertilizer count and the stress index also I calculated. And this is what my data looks like after creating the new features. I am available with now 12 columns in my data. Okay, fine. And then what I did is I created dummies of soil type, water frequency, and fertilizer type because these are soil type, water frequency, fertilizer type. These are what categorical in nature. So I created dummies of them. Okay. So now my data looks like I am having 18 columns present in the data. Okay, fine. So you can check here. With the dummies, what will happen? I will get true and false entries in my data set. Okay, that means new columns will be created and I will be having true and false entries present in my data set with respect to them. Okay, and then what I did next is I founded the correlation. Though I already found the correlation in the previous when I was having the existing data. Apart from that, I again found the correlation because I do have the new features also. All right, fine. So this is what the correlation I got, and obviously some terms will be high correlation. The reason is they are prepared from the existing features. So correlation will be high. For example, like 98%. Okay, I am having 78%, 88%. You can see. So I do have some high correlations in the data. That is more than 70%. If you do have the correlation between the features more than 70%, so you can consider it in a category of high correlation. That's what you can do. Okay, so in my data set, I achieved that. So I put a code. I put a code like I kept threshold as 70%. Okay, and then I prepared a list of those features which are having high correlation. Okay, so that's what I used in this particular code. I prepared an empty list initially, and those which are highly correlated, I'm going to append them here. Okay, so I applied a loop I, J, and I consider each feature to each and every feature and compared with the threshold. Okay, fine. And this is what I got. Those features which are having a correlation more than zero point 0.7. It's up to you. You can set the threshold from your side. I kept it like 70%. It's up to you how much you want. Okay, fine. And then because I found that these features are having high correlation more than 70%, so I dropped them. THI, GDD, fertilizer, fertilizer type organic, I dropped them. Okay, fine. And then after dropping these features, I am left with only these features in my data where my target is growth milestone. Okay, so then because I do have a classification problem, This is classification problem. So what I can do is, these are my features. I am importing the machine learning models for that. Dysentery, random forest, logistic regression, support vector classifier. That's what I'm doing. XGBoost, I'm importing. Okay. I dropped growth milestone from X and put it on Y as a target. Okay. Then I perform this train test split from it. There is one thing I want to tell here, though I haven't included that step, but you can include that step. Okay, let me share my entire screen to tell that you can scale your data. Okay, you can perform the scaling of your data. Okay, let me share the entire screen now. That may improve your result. I haven't scaled my data. I have selected as it is for the data, but you can do. Okay, so you can use standard scaler. Okay, it's a suggestion, or you can keep it as tip. Understood? So if you are applying classification here, okay, before applying classification, before putting the things into the model, I request you that, okay, you have splitted your data in X and Y. Fine, you did it. Kindly do scale X. Okay, it's not mentioned specifically in the algorithms. Logistic regression classifier doesn't ask for the scaling. It's not mentioned. Huh, support vector machine did. It asked for the scaling, but logistic regression, decision tree, random forest, XGBoost, they haven't asked for the scaling of the data and then put it into the model. No. However, I have seen that the results got varied in most of the cases, and they have shown the improve also. Okay, so you can do one thing, you can scale your data. You can import standard scaler from pre-processing, and you can put X into that, and you can get the scaled X from there. And then you can split. It's up to you into like X train and X test. Then you can do. Fine. However, I haven't included this in my code at the moment because I want some things to be done from your side. Okay, some activity should to be done from your side. I'm already giving you the entire code, I'm giving you the entire data, I'm giving the explanation, recording everything. Then what you are doing so far in this fourth project session, I haven't got any kind of reply from none of you guys. Okay, no feedback, nothing. I don't know what. So then you are performing train test split, and then I use random forest classifier. First, I use random forest class. It's up to you whatever be the models you are using. Random state 42 means, okay, if I do run this code multiple times also, na, then also the result will not change. That is what random state 42 means. Okay, whatever be the score I am getting here for the random forest, it will remain as it is. That's what random state 42 means. You can see. Don't put random state anything. Run the code. One time you will get another accuracy, one time you will get another accuracy. But with random state 42, you get the same set of the data to be selected for the training. Okay, the arrangement will be same internally. So model is going to give you. Okay, here also random state 42. Here you can see. Okay, so the distribution of data is picked like it will be now fixed, and that will be used same, and you are going to get the scores if you are using random state 42. You change from yours, you can keep random state 1, you can keep random state 11, 20, whatever you want to keep, you can then check, there will be change in the results. Okay, so random state 42 random forest classifier used, and this is what I got as a result. If I print classification, confusion matrix, only 50% accuracy. See, my data is already balanced. Let me tell you one thing. My data 01 is already balanced. If you want to confirm this thing, that we are working on balanced data only, because while doing classification, it is mandatory. This is, yeah, here it is 97 and 96. My data is already balanced. So before doing the classification, you should confirm whether your data is balanced or not. Unbalanced data, no need to apply. Okay, fine. So my data is balanced. I'm getting 51% accuracy. Maybe I haven't scaled my data. That could be a reason. That's why I told you, scale your data and then apply the algorithm. Okay. Then I printed the confusion matrix also, because I'm getting very less accuracy. So there will be a confusion. Okay, this is my confusion matrix 10, 10, 9, 10. Okay, so how I can interpret this 10, 10, 9, 10? Okay, it's like 10, 10, 9, 10. You very well know that this is actual and this is predicted. So if I say I'm having two classes now, 0 and 1. So if I say 1 is true, 0 will be false. Okay, or either it's up to you. Like, this is the first. So I can say 1, 0, 1, 0. Or I can say, like, if 1 is positive, 0 is negative. Okay, you can give this notation: 1 is positive, 0 is negative. So actual is also 1, prediction is also 1. This is this is true positive. Actual is 0, predicted prediction is 1. That means true. Is it true or what? It is false. False positive, isn't it? It will be like false positive. Okay, so FP, false positive. Then, if actual is 1, prediction is 0, then it will be false negative, because 0 is negative. And if actual is 0, predicted is also 0, then it is true negative. Okay, fine. So this is how we can define our confusion matrix. Okay, TP, FP, FN, and TN. Okay, like this: TP, FP, then TN, and FN. This is how we can do that. Okay, fine. So this is my confusion matrix. All right. And then for random forest, we are getting only 50% of the score, 50% of the accuracy. That is why, okay, we are trying other model also. Okay, I'm trying other model also. Decision tree classifier. Okay, with decision tree classifier, I got only 38% score. Again, might be the scaling is an issue. Okay, fine. Scaling is an issue. Okay, and then, anyways, because I haven't applied the scaling, let it be. Whatever with the scores are coming, so 38% accuracy is coming for the decision tree. All right, fine. And here I printed the confusion matrix and the classification report, everything for the decision tree also. And there is too much confusion in case of decision tree. Only for true it is giving only 5. For false it is giving 15. Same thing here also. So decision tree is confused between 0 and 1 for the classes. Only 30% accuracy. Then I proceeded ahead, and one additional code I have included in my data here is, in this particular data implementation, okay, in this project, that is how to print the feature importances. That's what I have introduced. Feature importances. So decision tree, random forest, XGBoost, all these models now, they can print the feature importance. Okay, not other algorithms have a capability of this, but these algorithms do have a capability to print the feature importance, because random forest is also built on the basis of decision tree. XGBoost is also built on the basis of decision tree. And how is the working of decision tree? how it works. Dysentery splits. Okay, dysentery splits. Okay, and dysentery splits on the feature. Okay, it consider it consider the parameters like Gini impurity or entropy, which is based upon informations. Okay, so this is the criteria which is used by the dysentery. Okay, so dysentery has a capability to identify the feature importances, which features are contributing in the model development. That's what I can identify. So once you trained your model, then you can print the feature importance. Okay, I did that. Feature importance I found out, and I took the feature names, and then I prepared a data frame of it, and I sorted them by importance. The one which is contributing a more, that will be kept at the top, and then I prepared a bar plot for it, horizontal bar plot, and this is what I got. Sunlight hours are contributing higher, then humidity is contributing, then fertilizer count, then temperature, then soil type loam, and so on. Water adequacy, stress index, water frequency, all these are least contributing in the model. Okay, they are not at all contributing, very less. Okay, the highest one is the sunlight and humidity, then fertilizer, then temperature. So these are the features which are contributing a lot. Okay, so when you are applying decision tree model, definitely it will help you in identifying which feature is important for us. Okay, so next time now with this you can do a lot of experimentation. Okay, so I included this particular code to show you which features are important. Okay, and then I've used logistic regression also. So random forest 50% accuracy, dysentery 38% accuracy, logistic logistic regression I used, and the score which I'm getting by the logistic regression is 49%. Now again nearby 49% score I'm getting from the logistic regression. Still my model is showing underfitted. Okay, then I thought let's try some more models. I printed confusion matrix classification report of logistic regression also. Then I tried with support vector classifier. Okay, so support vector classifier gave me score of 59%. Okay, 59. That means it was the highest one. Support vector classifier was the highest one. I got 59% score accuracy for classification using support vector machine. Okay, SVM. Okay, I'm using support vector classifier of SVM. Okay, so good score I'm getting here. I printed the confusion matrix and the classification report of it. It's showing better than the previous ones. Then I use XGBoost also. Okay, XGBoost classifier, XGB classifier. I use this thing. And in the XGBoost classifier, I'm getting 14, again 50% nearby. So random forest is 51, XGBoost is 49, logistic is also 49. The poorest is the decision tree. That was 38. Support vector machine is the top one, which is showing 59% of accuracy. That's what it is showing, 59%. Okay, and I again printed the confusion matrix and the classification report of XGBoost also. Fine. So these are the classifiers which I have used. Five traditional classifiers I have used of machine learning. Okay, and what I did is I want to build a comparative plot of the scores which I obtained from these classifiers. So I prepared another code where I kept the results, the accuracy of them in a form of this. Okay, in a form of this set. Okay, and then I draw the plot for them. Either you can use this technique, or either you have already printed. If you, I haven't printed here the accuracy score separately, but you can print accuracy scores also. In the previous projects I did printed the accuracy scores. Okay, so you can print the accuracy score for each and every model, and later on you can prepare a list of those accuracy scores, and then you can build like this comparative plot. Such kind of comparative plot you can build for them. So here I built a comparative plot, and the highest one is support vector classifier. That's not too much. It's near to 60%. Rest are like nearby 50%. This is the comparison of model accuracies. Then I thought that let's try deep learning also, because five traditional classifiers I use, but not so much I'm getting from them. Okay, so I tried deep learning also. Okay, so with deep learning I use sequential and the dense. Okay, this is what the model is. Sequential model, dense layers are used. Okay, my xtrain and xtest I converted it into integer, though they are in integer only, but I did convert it into integer because the reason is in my data xtrain and the xtest in my data, I am having boolean values like true and the false for some of the features which I created a dummy. And if I put these values into the deep learning model now, it will give me error, because deep learning model will not take such kind of boolean values. It will take the numerical value only. Okay, so I need to convert them into integers. So boolean can be converted into integers in the form of 0 and 1. Okay, that it can perform. Fine. So I did this y test and y train integer conversion also, and x train and x test also I converted into integer. Okay, that's what I did. Okay, here one suggestion. The suggestion is you can only pick you can only pick the features which are encoded, and convert them into integer, rather than taking entire xtrain and xtest, rather than taking the entire one. Because okay, if I print now xtrain, there is an issue happened. What is the issue happened? I have converted them into int x train, and what happens here is my temperature was in fraction, humidity was in fraction. Okay, they all get converted into integer. So I created the issues from my side because I want you to do some changes from your side. Okay, it's not like that I'm going to give you the fair code, but at each and every time I'm insisting you that where the changes can be done. Okay, so here I converted xtrain into integer, but actually it should not have to be integer. Only the thing which happened in my positive way is, you can see the true false are converted into 0 and 1. We are having true and false, but true and false can't be used in the deep learning model training, so they are converted into 0 and 1. Okay, fine. So that's what I got. But another problem raised. Another problem is like these temperature and humidity are converted into integer, which were in float previously. Okay, fine. Anyways, I proceeded ahead. I created a deep learning architecture like a sequential model I took. Then I added the layers: dense layer 512, dense layer 256, 128 neuron, 64 neuron, 32 neuron, and 1 neuron. I took this much dense architecture I created. Six layers I added. In favor that I am available with less data. I am available with some features and so very less samples. So let's try with huge model whether this may impact or not. Okay, so my activation function is sigmoid at the last because it's a binary classification. One neuron I'm going to take it. Rest, okay, you can add in the layers. ReLU activation function I'm taking. Okay, I compiled my model. I printed the summary. This is binary cross entropy. Okay, because binary classification, binary cross entropy. Okay, then I printed the summary. I trained my model. Unfortunately, here also I'm not going to get the good scores like for the accuracy. I reached till 56.91. Okay, this is the training accuracy. And validation accuracy is dipped to 41 here. That means my deep learning model is also struggling to capture the patterns in the data for the classification. Okay, this architecture, in fact, I build heavy architecture. So many layers. I think I could have to be I could be too much. I can be short here also. don't take so many layers and so many neurons. But still, I use this much architecture. Give a try. You can change the architecture from your side. You can reduce the layer. You can reduce the neurons. That's what you can do from your side. Okay, fine. And then I converted X test into integer also. I found Y prediction also. And the confusion matrix is entirely fail because it is unable to recognize once. My confusion matrix is entirely failed. It is unable to recognize once. It is only able to recognize only zeros. It is unable to recognize once. You can see the confusion metric 20 0, 19 0. This 19 should have to be here, then my model is successful. But unfortunately, 19 is present on this side. That means it is false. Okay. So this model also failed. When I print the report, you can see for one, zero precision, zero recall, zero F1s. For everything is zero. That means my model is unable to interpret one. It is interpreting only zeros. Okay. It's a failed architecture then. Okay, I used this code to print the model accuracy, validation and the loss and everything. Validation accuracy, validation loss, training accuracy, training loss. I printed this thing. You can see that the training loss is reducing, validation is showing the fluctuation, and here training accuracy is increasing with the fluctuation. Validation is also so many fluctuation. That means the architecture has not been preferred for this particular code. Now the thing is, sir, what you can do with the architecture? The one suggestion is, again, I'm going to give you the suggestion. You can reduce the layers, you can reduce the neurons in the architecture. Okay, you are available with least features, so don't use such heavy architecture. You are available with the less data, don't do that. Okay, reduce the architecture. Okay, another thing is, we are already struggling in getting the good score, good accuracy. We are already struggling. Okay, so here the point, there is no point that I can recommend you that you can use some regularization technique like batch normalization or dropout. You're already struggling here. Okay, you can try, but at least you can try, because see here, accuracy is 56, validation is 49. This is overfitting. Training accuracy is more, validation accuracy is less, overfitting. Here training accuracy is 52, validation is 41, overfitting. 55, 45, overfitting. 60, 45. So everywhere you can see the overfitting. Okay, everywhere you can see the overfitting.
Sir,
Yes, please ask.
sir, can we look at confusion matrix and decide if the model is overfitting or underfitting? Can
See,
we get to know that?
we're seeing confusion metrics for this particular case. Okay, for this particular case, the model is entirely like, first of all, the accuracy is very less, so model is unable to capture the data, so it is underfitted model. Okay, in general we can say it's an underfitted model. Now, seeing the confusion matrix, you can ch- check here, model is unable to identify what is one. That means only one digit is it is able to classify, that is only zero. Okay, so model is underfitted, it requires changes. Now, if I do talk about the confusion metrics of the previous models which we have built, and from here, can we decide that model is underfitted or overfitted? See, here it is 8. True positive is 8, but false. Okay, this is true positive is 8, and false positive is 12. That means again, model is having too much confusion in interpreting. Okay, and here it is 8. That means what? False, false negative, and here it is true negative. True negative is 11. Okay, so we can check what the true and the false values for positive and negative are identified. If there is lot of confusion, then model is underfitted. Model is totally like underfitted, it is confused, it's not getting the good score, it's underfitted. And if it is showing 100% result, that means here it is 20, here it is 20. For example, here it is 20 and here it is 19. Total, I guess it's 39. Okay, so here, if here is 20, here is 20, 19, that means there is no error made by the model, like this: 20, 0, 0, 19. So this 0 means no mistake made by the model. In this particular case, okay, we have to think that model is showing the 100% test results. 100% test results. Okay, now, now training accuracy, testing accuracy. Testing accuracy with confusion, we are saying that it is also 100%. Training will be obviously more, 100%. So with this small set of data, the model is claiming that I'm best. With small set of data, you can get such kind of result. But when the data is huge, I'm 100% damn sure that you are not going to get such kind of result. Okay, with more data, because right now you are just having only hundreds plus some rows, some samples are there. So model is showing, model can show, but here also we are struggling to identify the pattern. Here we are also struggling at the moment. But normally it happens that with the less data na, you get good score, but here we are struggling, we are not getting the good scores also. Okay, so a general hint can be made by seeing the confusion matrix, whether your model is overfitted or underfitted. By seeing this, that there is no mistake made by the model in testing the data, that means model trained well. And over testing also, it is able to recognize everything. Test is an unseen data. That's what we say. Test is unseen data. Okay, but model is giving 100% score on unseen. That means my model is the best model. But getting a best model is something complicated. Still, you have to try this over huge amount of data, then check that still model is giving this much score. If the model is giving this much score on 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 of data, then we can say that okay, model is the best model. Okay, and if the model is giving okay good values with some mistakes, then also we are saying that models is good model, it's not overfitted. Okay, but it happens that it this particular model gave good score, but with 10,000, 20,000, model is giving absolutely wrong score, then model is underfitted. That means not underfitted, we say initially it is looking good, but when we increase the data, model is unable to capture the patterns. That means model was certainly here as an overfitted model, and later on it's unable to understand the patterns in the data. So we can have some hint from the results which we got. Okay, fine. We are actually failed here with the deep learning model also. So then what I decided is, let's perform hyperparameter tuning. Okay, just perform hyperparameter tuning. Hyperparameter tuning I did for the machine learning models. Okay, so I took all the model, dysentery, logistics, support vector, XGBoost. I took every model, and then what I did is, in hyperparameter tuning, that means I failed in deep learning also, nothing I'm getting. I imported grid search. Okay, and I took all the models. So most of the people might be looking forward for, sir, kindly use the hyperparameter tuning also, because you haven't used in the previous project. So here I'm including the hyperparameter tuning also. So hyperparameter tuning, what actually it is? Okay, I hope you have an idea about the hyperparameter also. Okay, hyperparameter tuning. So in models, we do have parameters. Every model do have a parameter which define their working, which define the working. Okay, change in the hyperparameter will change in the scores also produced by the models. So hyperparameter, they control, Okay, hyperparameter actually control the working of model. Every model do have many hyperparameters, okay, which control the working or the functioning of the models. However, there are many hyperparameters, but at least 3 to 4 hyperparameters are very important. You may have 8 or 10 hyperparameters, so 3 to 4 are very important. And tuning means is to put different values of them to check over data, that by putting this different value, are they performing well or not. Okay, are they performing well or not. So putting just it's a trial method. Okay, so I will be preparing a grid. You can see this is a grid. This is a parameter grid. I have what I have imported grid search. What do you mean by grid search? This is grid search cross validation. Okay, so grid search cross validation means you will be preparing a grid of hyperparameter. Okay, grid. What is grid? Grid, you can see it's like a dictionary. For example, I'm taking decision tree as a model. So depth I'm defining with these values. Minimum sample split I'm defining with these values. Criteria I'm taking Gini and the entropy. Okay, so over my data, I will be applying all these things and I will check over which hyperparameter the value is looking good for it. For logistic regression, also, I want to do this thing. So C and the solver, these are the hyperparameter of logistic regression. Every model is having different types of hyperparameter. Descent tree is having depth, minimum criteria. Support vector is having C, kernel, gamma. XGBoost is having number of estimator, learning rate, max step. Here also random forest is having these as a hyperparameter. These are major hyperparameters in this algorithm. There are other also, but we are ignoring them right now. So this is the grid which I created, parameter grid, and I'm searching which hyperparameter is best for the respective algorithm or respective model. So that is called as grid search. Okay. And I'm having CV also. That is called as cross validation. What is cross validation is? See, so I told each and everything like grid plus search plus cross validation. Grid, I told that you prepared the entire dictionary of each and every model with the hyperparameter, and I need to search the hyperparameter from that. Cross validation is like this thing. This is your data. This is your data. You will take a small portion of data out from it. Let us suppose this is your training data. From training, you took some data outside that I called as a validation data, valid data. You will train your model with this data and you will validate your model with this data. So during training only we'll do the validation that model is working good or not. So if one iteration is over, then again you will put this data back into the training. You will pick another validation data, and then again you will train over this particular data and validate with this data. But there is an issue is already exposing you are already exposing your data to model your data to model exposure. You're already exposing your data. That means, okay, you took this data as a validation first and then you again put this back. Okay, put it back. Then you took this data is already used in the training previously, and now you are validating from this data model. Okay, you are validating your model with this particular data, but this is already used by the model for the training. Now if you're validating with this, the model will understand this data and it will show good score. Okay, it will show good score. Okay, so that's an issue, drawback of grid search cross validation because of exposure of data. Okay, anyways, we are using grid search, cross validation. This is called as cross validation. Okay, fine. And then, okay, I perform the cross validation. And what I found by running these models are, what I found is the best parameters for the decision tree, that is the criteria is Gini. Maximum depth is 7, minimum samples are 5. The score is coming 60%. 61% accuracy I can achieve with the decision tree. With this particular, I can achieve 61% accuracy. Okay. With logistic regression, with these parameters, I am achieving accuracy of 64%. So dysentery previously was only 38. Now with the hyperparameter tuning, it raised to 61. Okay, then logistic regression 64, support vector classifier 65, um, XG boost I am getting 63, and random forest also 63. That means 60 plus I achieved with all. Almost all are same. 64, 65, 63, and all. Almost they are same. Only dysentery is 61. So it's also closer to what the others are. Okay, so this is hyperparameter tuning, and we have modified the scores. Our scores get improved. So it's not like that my model is very much underfitted now. My model is average model. And from here now, what I did is these are the test scores. So that is the okay. These are the scores which I got. Best score via grid search, cross validation, and when I use these models over the test data. So these are the scores I'm getting. Dysentery 46, logistic 53, support vector 64, XGBoost 58, and random forest 56. That's what I'm getting over the test data. This is scores I'm getting by using the best model, which I achieved, which I got from above, which I got from above. By using this best model, these are the scores I'm getting over test data. I thought that okay, all are like not so much difference except the decision tree. So I use logistic regression. It's like simple here. I could have used support vector classifier also. You can do one thing. Now again, one more suggestion. I use logistic regression as a model. I saved that particular model LR. But this is suggestion for you. You will be working with SVC. Okay, the steps will be the same which I used for the saving this model LR and using the SVC. Okay, all right. Instead of logistic regression, you will use SVC and use the hyperparameter of SVC I used for logistic regression. So what you are going to use here, the best hyperparameter for the support vector classifier are C1 gamma scale kernel poly. So use them here. Random state 42. Use support vector classifier and then train. So this is your support vector classifier. This would be right now for me it's logistic, and I saved the logistic regression model. Okay, I have saved this model with the name logistic regression model plant health.pkl. That's what I did.
Sir,
Yes, ask.
sir, little up can you take
Fine.
logistic regression hyperparameter? This.
Hmm.
The solver parameter, can you please tell
Solver.
logistic regression?
Huh. In logistic regression, see this is one of the hyperparameter solver LBFGS. Okay, so let me talk about the hyperparameter here. And okay, just a second. Let me open sklearn official website. Sklearn logistic regression. Okay, from there you will get all the details. Okay, so this is your sklearn. Let me share the screen again, and you can check out the parameter here. Okay, fine. So here it is logistic regression. All the details you can get from sklearn library. Okay, logistic regression. And I am here available with the solver. Solver LBFGS is by default present in the logistic regression, and the details of the solver is mentioned here. Solver can be liblinear, LBFGS, Newton CG, Newton Chomsky, SAG, and Saga. By default, it is LBFGS. Okay. So algorithm that is used to perform the optimization. So solver and rest of other techniques are used for optimization. Okay, for small data set that we are having, we could have used liblinear. It's a good choice, I think. Instead of okay, I think we have already used in the project. Did we have used liblinear as a hyperparameter? Linear. Wait a minute. Liblinear we have used, but liblinear was failed in our data set. So LBFGS proved to be better. Okay, so these are the hyperparameters optimization techniques. Optimization techniques, that means they are trying to help in converge your model as soon as possible. That's what they do. Solver LBFGS uses, it can use L2 penalty, that is rich, and it can be used for multinomial or multi classification. LBFGS, though we are having binary classification, then also LBFGS is okay to use. So ये optimization techniques हैं सारा. Okay, multi-classification problem, LBFGS, they can handle multinomial loss. Liblinear Newton-Chomsky can handle binary classification. We are having binary classification. However, liblinear failed actually. Okay, LBFGS proved to be fine for us. Okay, so that's what we do use as a hyperparameter. Okay, and certainly they are so many numbers. By default we are using this hyperparameter. Okay, so algorithm to use in the optimization problem, LBFGS. Okay, and here they have given some explanation that what could be a good choice according to your problem, according to your data. Okay, fine. So you can have a multi classification, you can have a binary classification, and the working of logistic regression is something like okay. Let me take a few more minutes for logistic regression. LR. See, logistic regression for binary classification, it's very easy. This is logistic regression, 0 to 1. Okay, this is zero point 0.5 that we called as a threshold. If you are having more than zero point 0.1, zero point 0.5, class is 1. If you are having less than zero point 0.5, class is 0. This is how it classify. This is sigmoid. Okay, what it will do for multi classification? What multi classification logistic regression do? See, logistic regression perform one versus all. That means if you are having 0, 1, and 2 class, so what it will do? 0 versus 1 and 2. That means it will consider 1 and 2 as one class, single class. क्योंकि लॉजिस्टिक रिग्रेशन स्पेसिफिकली वो बाइनरी क्लासिफिकेशन के लिए इट कैन परफॉर्म मल्टी क्लासिफिकेशन बट इट विल यूज दिस काइंड ऑफ टेक्निक, वन वर्सेस ऑल, ऐसे टेक्निक यूज करेगा और फिर उसके करस्पॉन्डिंग इट विल कैलकुलेट द स्कोर्स. सो 0 वर्सेस 1 2, यदि 1 होगा तो 1 वर्सेस 0 2, 2 होगा तो 2 वर्सेस 0 1. दैट्स व्हाट इट विल डू. ऐसे करता है, 1 वर्सेस ऑल. तो ये है ऑल और ये है 1. दिस काइंड ऑफ टेक्निक logistic regression use for the classification. Binary classification of the 0 or 1, that is the general case. For multi classification it uses 1 versus all. ऐसे करता है वो classification. Okay, so these are the solvers. These are the techniques which are used in optimization problems, algorithms. Okay, to get the quick results. Okay, और ज़्यादा डिटेल में तो खैर वी आर नॉट मूविंग, बट देर आर वेरियस टेक्निक्स जो आपने देख ली. ठीक. So the result which we got here is like I saved logistic regression model, and then after saving the logistic regression model, I decided to create a streamlet. That means local host deployment I did. Okay, local host deployment मैंने कर लिया, कोड मेरे पास तैयार है लोकल होस्ट का. Okay, वो मैंने तैयार कर लिया था. So what I did is separate coding I did. ये रहा सेपरेट कोड बना लिया मैंने स्ट्रीमलेट वाला. I imported Streamlit, I imported Pandas, I took Pickle, and I took Logistic Regression. ओके इतना ही था, इतना रिक्वायरमेंट था. पांडास का भी आई गेस चलो डेटा फ्रेम बन रही तो पांडास से पिकल टू, बिकॉज आई सेव द मॉडल ना पिकल फॉर्मेट में. I say the model in pickle format. So here I'm taking pickle also. Okay, fine. So Streamlit, Pandas, pickle, and the logistic regression. These I'm taking. I prepared the title, Plant Growth Prediction Using Logistic Regression. It's up to you. You can make any title. And then I gave a header. Okay, input the parameters. I'm asking from the user to input the parameter. And for inputting the parameter, now I created sidebar. This you will see. I will show you. I prepared sidebar. In sidebar, I am taking number as an input for the sunlight, number as an input for the temperature. I can define minimum maximum value from my side. It's up to you. Okay, I can decide minimum maximum from my side. Value 12 means by default they will be entered in the form. It's it's your choice. If you don't want to give the value, you can eliminate that. So value 12 means when I'm going to open the website now, that will already filled with 12, but you can change from your side. So these limits also you can change from your side. Okay, and you can, if you don't want to have a value, you can change it from your side also, keep or not to keep. So for all the features, sunlight, temperature, humidity, this fertilizer count, stress index I'm having minimum 0, maximum 1, value 0. Okay, either 0, either 1. So rest all are having 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. All this I'm having. Okay, so just I just copy pasted like this, sidebar, number input number, because all are numerical now. So I just use number input only. I just copy pasted, that I haven't put any effort, just change the minimum and the max. That's what I did. Okay, and I took this data because this is the data. So whatever be the values which are present here in the form, na, in this form here, whatever be the value input by the user, okay, I will take that in a form of a data like this in a dictionary, and then I will convert it into a data frame. Okay, that will be converted into a data frame, and that data frame I will be giving it to the logistic regression model for the prediction. Okay, so user input features I can print, and here is what I'm going to take them in my logistic regression model for the prediction. I will be having a prediction button. Once I will put this into the logistic regression model, I will click on the prediction button, and the prediction will be printed. That's what I did. Very simple Streamlit code I used. Okay, fine. Then I downloaded the Python file of it. Okay, in downloads, I'm available with Python file because this is IPYNB. This is IPYNB file. So I downloaded the Python file of it, .py, and I copied and pasted it into my Python folder. Okay, from where I'm running. Okay, from where I'm running. Okay, my Jupyter notebook, everything, a local machine. So I copy from the download and pasted here. Remember, if you are not using the correct form and sorry, this correct path and everything, na, you will be in a trouble. Deployment में issue आएगा. Okay, so I did that. .py file I pasted there, and just only what I did next is I opened my Windows PowerShell, because on command prompt I'm already running the Python. Jupyter Notebook is already running from the command prompt. So I used Windows PowerShell. Okay, and then I wrote the instruction that Streamlit run pgp.py. Actually, the name of my file is pgp.py. So on the local machine 8501 port number, it is running. Here it is. You can see sidebar. Actually, I've used sidebar. You can see in the code. Here it is. Sidebar. You can ignore it. It's not mandatory that you have to use a sidebar. It's just because right now I'm experimenting some different things, so I shown different. Previously, that was not a sidebar. You are having one some form type in the previous deployment. Now it's like a sidebar. Okay, so I've used the sidebar, Here you can see the sidebar, and 12, 25, 30, 50, 1, 2, 0, and all these things, they are by default field. See the code. In this code now I have already mentioned 12, 25, 50, 1, 2, 0. These are by default values. Okay, these are by default values which are present in my this particular, okay, input parameter. You can change. Okay, you can, instead of 12 you can make 13. Temperature you can make 26. Humidity you can increase to like 54. Water adequacy 0. Fertilizer count, okay, you can increase to some certain, it's up to you, 10, whatever, up till 10 you can give. Stress index, okay, 1. Soil type 1. Okay, soil type sandy, okay, 1. So this is what you can do. Water frequency bi-weekly 1. Okay, by water frequency weekly, okay, nothing. Fertilizer, predict the growth, okay, the growth milestone is 1. Here is the prediction. Okay, here is the answer. So this is local machine deployment. Okay, got it. I here is the deployment and I got the result. Okay, fine. So this is what I did in in my in my what, your local deployment. Now, after that I stopped because I think what you will do next. Because if I will do each and everything, then what you are going to do. So the only thing now left is you can take this code, put it on the GitHub. Model is also trained, put it on the GitHub. Only one thing is there is your requirement file. Requirement file, what I require? I just require Streamlit and sklearn. Rest I don't require for my side. That also I'll put it on the GitHub. Then I will open the Streamlit website and then connect that repository and deploy. So this model will available on the online. That's it. Okay, fine, got it. So this is what the deployment part. So the rest of the deployment you can include from your side. Okay, fine. Let me share this screen only. Let me share the deployment part. Here it is, the deployment part. Okay, fine. So here is the model which we have used as a logistic regression for plant growth prediction. So I have told you that what changes are expected, desired to be done on your data. Okay, you kindly follow up that thing. I hope this makes a sense, and this also ends with your project number 4. Okay, let me